This schedule has been on my heart for all week. I went to a meeting the other night. This time of year, they say, psychologists say this time of year, that a lot of people suffer a lot of depression during the holidays. That's true. Things go on in people's lives. I got to think about that. I know I've experienced it. I know some of y'all today are experiencing it. Y'all experience it during this time. And I want to try to help folks today. I really do, because this really helped me. I think I want to be help. I can help people. But in Proverbs chapter number 18, we're just going to read one verse, in verse 14. If you find it, you stand, we'll read the verse, and I'll have somebody pray, and then we'll go and get into the sermon, the message today. Verse 14 says this: the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? Bless the reading of the word of God.
Dear most kind and gracious Father, I pray you help me upon the reading of the word of God today. I pray you touch our hearts, ears, and eyes. I pray for Pastor God stands, God, and helping God. He can't preach without you helping him. You're preaching him, and we love you. Thank you for that. Thank you for what you're going to do. Touch all those sick. Touch Brother Josh today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Many people today have had a struggle, someone in their life. They've had something very tragic to happen in their life. It could have been a lot of things. It could have been the death of a loved one. It could have been a disaster in your family. It could have been financial problems. And a lot of times that is a type of hurt that medicine can't fix. It's a type of hurt that's something only God can help us with. This here in Proverbs, he was talking about a wounded spirit. Said the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? That word wounded in this particular passage means hurt or injured. And I know there's a lot of people today that are struggling with wounded spirits. And that's one of the worst hurts that anybody can have. I mean, if I get hurt part of my body, maybe cut my leg or my arm, I go get stitches, and after a while it'll be okay. I'm not as much talking about outwardly wounded, being outwardly wounded, as I am the inward wounded. Some people never get over wounds. The Proverbs, here in the book of Proverbs, he was talking about wounded spirits. And one thing about it, there's wounds that will cause us and keep us bound down. There's a lot of people this morning that are saved people, that are good people. But there's things in their life that's happened that's hurt them so bad that they've never really healed from it. It felt like an injury to your arm or something. Maybe a cut or whatever. Outwardly, it may appear healed. But inwardly, it bothers you. I remember before I came to Unity, I was a youth pastor. And I remember we used to go, and I can't do it now, I'm too old and out of shape, but we used to have a church on Wednesday and Sunday night. We had a gymnasium in the church, at the church. And we'd change clothes and got there and play basketball. I played with the big boys. I did, never got hurt. One youth meeting night, we had a little youngin about the size of these youngins playing, and I fell and hurt my ankle. I tore the ligaments loose at my ankle. Well, it got healed up, but while, I still have aches from that injury I had. That's over 25 years ago. Some of you may be here today and you've had injuries. You kind of healed on the outside, but you never have healed on the inside. Some of you can relate to what I'm talking about. Many people today people today are dealing with that. I think the most common hurt, I guess, would probably be a death of a loved one. Don't you think so? Or maybe a separation of a dissolving of a marriage. It hurts. But many times we understand that God is the only source of help when we go through this kind of wound in our life. When you suffer a loss of a loved one, it's probably the worst pain you've ever felt in life. Wouldn't y'all agree?
Amen.
It's a hard to do. But I'm glad that God, in His mercy,
Amen.
can help us and heal us. But some people today have been hurt so much and have been hurt so deeply that they never really truly get over it and heal it. I heard a preacher preach the other night. Me and Brother Mike went to a meeting at the church I preached at Sunday, Monday night. Went back to hear my friend Brother Tracy preach. He made a statement that stuck with me, and I began to think on this line. He said, many of you, either you can't do what you should for God, you never healed up from the wound that you've got in your life. Boy, that struck me it struck me. I said, you know what? There's a lot of truth to that. We're human beings. We have feelings. And we're not perfect. And sometimes we tend to lean toward emotion, don't we? And sometimes when our spirits get wounded, at a certain level of time in our life, especially when it first happens, we feel like, hey, I don't think I'm going to make it through this. But we do. And our wounded spirit, we may get help, get some help. But there's got to be a time in all of our lives if we're wounded today. Then we've got to get to a point where we say, Lord, I'm tired of being like this. And I'm glad today that even the writer in Ecclesiastes said there's no balm in Gilead. They are balm in Gilead in the name of Jesus. But I want to preach today on the simple thought. Healing the hurts of your heart. Healing those hurts of your heart. A hurt heart. That's the most miserable thing that you can ever have. Oh, you can hurt your foot or something, but you know when you hurt your heart, you hurt all over, don't you? Your mind, your soul, your spirit, your heart, and your thinking, your everyday life is affected by a broken heart. I've seen people will be broken over stuff like loved one lost, a loved one passed away or something. They never truly get over the initial shock or get over the hurt. And they never get back to where they were. I'm going to ask you this morning, are you in that category today? Has your heart been broken over something like that? And you hurt inside. You come to church, you smile, you act like things is fine, but inside you're still broken. You're still hurt. And you go to bed sometime and the memories still come back of what happened and it opens it up over and over again. You ever had that happen to your phone? You have something happen that hurts you real badly. And you seem as though you can get over it for a while. And maybe a memory or something that you had of whatever happened, you relive it over and over again, don't you? That's a hurt inside. But I'm glad we can find help and have hope this morning. Healing that hurt inside. That's a bad, that's a hard, that's one of the worst hurts you can have. Jesus cares about how we feel in our pain. He cares about what we're facing in this life. He loved us. He knows that our heart. He knows that we're just flesh. He knows we're human. We're subject to failing and subject to doubt and subject to. Sometimes we get to the point we just get plumb cold because of hurt. We need to understand Jesus wants to us. He wants us to bring what we've got to Him today. He wants us to bring that praying to Him. He wants us to say, Lord, I'm tired of carrying it. You remember when you first learned how to ride a bicycle? That's been so many years ago, I don't remember, to be honest. But I tell you what, I probably had a lot of wrecks, didn't y'all? One thing about it, I always got back up and tried again.
Yeah.
What problem with a lot of folks, they fall, they don't want to get back up. And that's exactly the way the devil wants us to do. He wants us to just give up and say, Lord, I can't do it again. And I guarantee you, every one of us has experienced some kind of grief like that in our life, in our mind. I don't think I'll get through it. I'm going to do it again. But we have, haven't we? Sometimes it's so flesh, it's so weak. You know, like Jesus said, the spirit's willing, but what the flesh is weak. Wouldn't it be good if all of a sudden there'd be something you could do, touch something or something you could say to just remove all that? But it's not that simple, is it? Many times we face that, and sometimes when we go through things like that, we go through it we go through the motions of life, don't we? For a long time, because we're just trying to get by day because of the hurt in our heart. But I'm glad God can heal. He can heal the hurts of our heart today. I want to tell you what, life hurts, don't it? Things sometime in our life hurts. Some of you experience a lot of heartaches, heartbreaks. We all have somewhere in life. We've experienced it. And it's hard. It's hard, but that's the way life is, folks. It has its ups and downs. Most people occasionally experience such severe personal pain that sometimes they get this say, nobody's ever faced what I've had. Nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Everything that we've ever faced, folks, Jesus has been there. He's done it. He knows how it is to be. He knows how it is to be rejected. He knows how it is to lose loved one. Lazarus. Of course, Lazarus rose from the grave, sure. But let me tell you what today we need to understand about healing the hurts of the heart. That's the most serious matter, I guess, we have to deal with in our life. I mean, sin, I know we have sin. We repent of that and get God to forgive us. We go on. But when we have a broken heart, we can ask God to help us. But ain't it something like how it keeps lingering with us? Well, we know that God is going to help us, but it's just hard. But we see here, pain is a universal thing. It's something universal. Some pain is a physical pain. Some is emotional. Some pain is physical as a result of you being sick. Some is emotional. It's imposed by friends or foes that rise from our fears or frustration. Whether the pain is real or not, it still hurts. And a lot of times when we experience pain, it associates with some kind of loss in our life. Ain't that right? Which I've never experienced anything like that. Well, if you live long enough, you probably will. Because we all have faced things that we wish we'd never had to face. I guarantee you, some of you here today, and I'm talking about me too. There's things that I've had happen I wish would never happen. But things do happen, don't they? There's different kinds of pain. Physical pain, we talk about the bodily pain. There's emotional pain, that's the soul and the spirit, the pain of the heart. There are different levels of pain. You ever been in the hospital? I've never been in the hospital as a patient. But you ever been there, you've had an operation, they say, come, tell me the level of pain that you're from 1 to 10, tell me the level of pain you're experiencing. You see, some pain is not as severe as others of the heart, but some are very severe. Some cuts down to the very quick of your soul. Some pain is open. When people are hurting, they'll strike out. Visible pain. But I'm talking mostly here tonight, this morning, about that pain that's hidden within our heart. That no one knows but me, but us. No one knows but me, you and God. People ask you, how are you doing? You say, I'm doing fine, but inwardly you're hurting. And sometimes you don't mean to say that, tell them that, but you don't want to burden them with your pain, do you? Really? That's honest. So many times there's people today, I know there's people today, that when something happened to you in your life, pain, experience this kind of pain, it puts you back a step or two. You never got forward like you used to be. You know why? Because you're human. You know why? Sometimes our flesh, and it's true of everybody, everybody is guilty of let that happen. So we have children, when we go through something like that, we have children, we have to be strong for our family. And we feel like we need to be strong for everybody, don't we? We feel like, hey, I can't collapse. I got children, grandchildren, I got loved ones, I've got to be strong for them. But that don't change the fact, Brother Mike, that pain's still there. Amen. That don't change the fact that our pain is still, but every day, get up in the morning, probably first day, and it gets better after a while. It does, but we get up, we think about things. Especially this time of year, things we have a painful memories of things that happen. One thing about pain, folks, about that inner heart, that hurt of our heart, is people react to pain in different ways, don't they? Some people have a very high tolerance of pain. Some people don't have too high tolerance of pain. People experience, like I said, they experience the death of a loved one. That hurts. That's a hurt. That's a hurt. I would wish them, if I had any envy, I would wish on my hand. Some of you have had the unpleasant experience of having a divorced spouse. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Please don't think you're divorced. But I'm saying you know how it hurts. Some people have the pain of a disease. A sickness. Had disasters come. Some have lost their homes in fire. Some have lost financially, have completely destroyed themselves. All these pains are, in a way, direct is alike. In that they cause loss. Loss will produce grief. Grief can lead a lot of us to question God. That's true. Have you ever, when you went through a grief of a loved one, asked God, why? Have you ever asked God, why? Why my child? Why my husband? Why my friends? As long as you don't start accusing him and accusing God, he understands why we ask him. When we feel like we lose something in our life, we feel like we wonder why you had good people. We've known you've had good people you loved, you dear, that loved God, but God took them in death. And you wonder why God, they serve God, but Lord, there's some reprobate over here that don't never serve God, don't do nothing. And they live, everything seems like it's going well. Why would you take someone like that? Now, we've all had experience that.
Amen.
Let me tell you what, friend. When we're hurting, we don't even think rationally. We don't. Sometimes when problems happen and we're hurt, we tend sometimes to try to find somebody else to blame for it. Not always, but that's the case in a lot of things. I'm talking about it was hurt. When I was going through grief with my wife, I read an article that really helped me. It described grief to the very T. It said that grief is like being on a ship. And it's like that ship being destroyed by the waves. And you're hanging on to a piece of the ship. And grief is like those waves that just keep beating, never let up, keep beating against you. And you think you're going to drown, you're going to die from the grief. But said the longer that you're on there, as time goes by, those waves get less frequent. They still come, but they get less frequent. And they will get to where they don't come as much, but they always, in a way, will still be there. I thought that described it pretty good. But we see here, we say, Lord, why? Hurting people sometimes, people that are hurt sometimes, they lash out at others, don't they? Those sometimes that love us the most, sometimes we do that. I don't really think I did, but I know a lot of people did. It causes a lot of anguish in their relationship with their families. When something bad happens, they lash out. Because the source of pain in their life can't be touched by other people. I can tell you how I feel. I can tell you how it feels to lose a loved one. But really, if you've never experienced, you can't understand it completely. But hurting hearts, I'm talking about it, that's the worst hurt you can have, Brother Mike. It's hurt inside. Getting to the point that it kind of dominates your thinking. It kind of causes, it interrupts your activity. And like I said a while ago, it causes you to get where you can't be effective in your service for God because you're still hurt. You've never healed up. You've never been healed up of it. Just like someone had diabetes bad. When I go to the doctor every 3 months. You know what they do? The doctor checks my feet every time. Because I'm diabetic, I'm not a very bad diabetic, but I'm bad enough to check my feet. Just to make sure the circulation is good in my feet. Because the diabetic, when they can some, when they get cut, the wound won't heal good. Sometimes won't completely never heal. We see a lot of people understand those folks. People wonder. They go to their mind, if God is really in charge of things, why did He let this happen? That sound familiar to you? If He's good and powerful, how could He not prevent something from happening? He could prevent it happening. But it's just one He's going to do. I want to ask you something this morning. Have you got a hurt in your heart and you need God to heal? I can see a lot of times it hinders people. It hampers people from really getting where I do. I know this is not a shouting message. I know this is something I believe needed this morning. Somebody needs this. But I'll tell you what, the hurt of the heart. When we're hurt, we lash out. If we don't watch out, we'll get bitter toward God, toward other people. But I'll tell you what we didn't understand. See, we say, Lord, why? Sometimes when we hurt or something happened, sometimes we don't watch out and we'll withdraw ourselves from people. We'll just kind of, and you don't watch out. And I know I saw myself, Sister Janet, I saw myself when my wife died, not want to be around nobody. You preacher, you shouldn't have been like that. Well, maybe when you experience, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But I understood a lot of times that grief, it seems like it's something, a lonely thing that we all face when something like that happens. When you're hurting bad, who do you go to? Who will you go to? I'm glad there's only one place we can go. That's in the arms of a loving God that loves us. We withdraw ourselves sometime. I remember when I was an 18-year-old boy, 19-year-old boy, 18. My daddy died my senior year in high school. I remember going to school and coming home. It was right after Daddy died, and we lived in town there. I remember coming home and opened the door, Brother Mike, and my mama would be sitting there in the dark in the living room. And I didn't understand it, but I know what she felt. She didn't know what to do. Many times, folks, we get to the point we say, Lord, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? We withdraw ourselves from those that love us. And we don't mean to. It's just the way grief works sometimes. Sometimes not only do people withdraw themselves, they get aggressive toward other people, strike out at others. Even like Mary and Martha. You know what Mary and Martha, they was grieving with Brother Mike. You know what they asked Mary? Jesus said, Jesus, if you'd been here, this wouldn't have happened. Didn't he tell him that? Said, Jesus, if you would have been here, he'd have never died. But he was there the whole time. God was there the whole time. And in anything that you went through, God's been right there with you. And he understands your grief. And he understands you questioning why. He understands that. But our grief, our hurt is something that we can be healed and helped with. That we can be back like we should be, like we once were. It takes heart. When you grieve your spirit, your heart, and you can't be, you feel like nothing can help, nothing satisfies, nothing can soothe that pain, nothing. Until you come to the point, there's got to be a time in your life where you come to grips with the Lord. I don't understand why you allowed this to happen to me. We don't necessarily have to like what happened, but we understand what happened. Yeah. And we got to come to the point, Lord, I don't know why. There's something good in it. Somewhere along the line, there's something good in it. I often wonder when my wife passed. My girl got saved in 2018. That was hard. I believe God allowed that. You know what? I often heard her say, if it takes me dying, my girl gets saved, I won't get saved. God honor. But sometimes we get in our life, we get so, you don't know what to do. You cry, you can't pray, you cry, you can't do nothing. But I'm glad we got somebody who can do something for us. Yes, sir. That hurt, you know what, like when these little babies, your little baby used to fall and scrape your knee, mama would get it and kiss the boo-boo and make it better. We wish God, when we hurt, he could kiss our boo-boo and make it better, but it don't work that way, does it? God understands, Jesus understands our pain. He understands what we're facing. He understood it even when Lazarus died. When they stood there crying, he saw everybody else weep. What did he do? He wept with them. He understood their sorrows. He understood he understood. God is not a God that allows us to go through things and don't understand and don't sympathize with us when we're facing these things. I'll tell you something this morning. If you've got a hurt, you're not going through this by yourself. God's right there with you the whole time. And He can help you. Whether you believe it or not, God understands your pain. He understands it. I want to ask you something. This is something, it convicted me, and I hope it helps you. What pain or agony could you experience that would ever equal the pain of Calvary? What pain could we then have? Some of us, just like when Jesus Christ died. You remember the Bible said that the heavens, it was dark for 3 hours and Jesus was on the cross. Now I heard a preacher preach this, and now this is what he said. He said, you know what God would do it? And I thought, I got to hear this. He said, I believe that Jesus said, I correctly have trouble. He leaves the angel standing. All I got to do is say, come get me, and I tell come get me. He said, God veiled the heavens. Because the angels was probably watching him. They won't come get him off the cross. You got to realize, he was created with the Father before the foundation of the world. I'll tell you something. I'll show you something here. He understands the pain. During your pain, people can say, brother, sister, I love you. I'm praying for you. I often wonder, as a pastor, I've been a long time, when I'm having to deal with people that are in pain like that. I often say, what are the right words to say to them? What can I say to help them? And I heard a preacher say this on the radio one time. He gave me, and it helped me. He said, I didn't know what to tell them. It seemed like God said, you just tell them you love them. You're praying for them. You know what? To know that somebody praying for you and loves you and there for you when you're going through it, that helps. That may not heal that inner, it may not heal that inner pain. But it does make it a little bit more bearable knowing somebody's there helping you, praying with you. But I want to show you something here, folks. Even Jesus understood our pain. He was rejected. The Bible said he came in his own, his own received him not. He was betrayed with a kiss. Judas kissed the door of heaven and died and went to hell. Jesus had done a lot. He was betrayed. You know what? You ever felt like you've been betrayed? Look at me. Y'all ever felt like you've been rejected and betrayed by people? That hurts, don't it? Yeah. Jesus knew how it was. You ever felt like he suffered the shame of Calvary, the cross? A lot of people got a picture of Jesus hanging across, a little drop of blood here, a drop of blood here. That wasn't what it was. He was bloody. He was bloody. He was beat. He was beat. He was beat. He was crowned with thorns and plucked the beard out of his face. He understands pain. If anybody we can understand, Jesus understands pain because he suffered pain. He suffered rejection. He suffered shame. There may have been people today that's hurt you, that's caused you, hurt you deeply, that's done things that you feel like, hey, Lord, I don't know if I could ever forgive them. You can, but it hurt. And that pain just bothers you. But I'll show you, here's something that holds me to the message tonight, this morning. You've got to want to be healed before God can do anything for you. He wants to do something about your pain this morning, friend. He wants you to come to Him and lay your cares, cast your cares upon Him. He wants you to say, Lord, I want to give it to you. Until you come to the point where you get to the point in your life, you say, Lord, I surrender this thing to you. God, please. You will never start the healing process completely until you do that. Until you say, Lord, I'm hurting, Lord. And God, I need you to do something. God, I cannot handle it on my own. God, I've got to give it to you. God, please. I'm giving it to you. Please help me. He won't turn away your plea if you pray with a sincere heart for him. God wants to do something about her pain. Jesus not only did weep with Mary and Martha when Lazarus was healed, he took the next step. He done something about it. He helped them. He helped them. So you've got to give it to God and really give it to him. You've got to resign all those thoughts of betrayal and abandonment and say, Lord, this is what I need. I need help, Lord. I need you to touch me. I need this heart. My heart is still broken and I need it healed. I need this wound cured where I can go on and live my life pleasing to you. You see, when you're grieving, you can't be pleasing to God because you're worried. You bound down with thoughts and everything, and you're bound down with grief. And you can't be a blessing to God until you say, Lord, I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of being wounded, God. I need cure and I need healing. He'll do it to you, folks. But you know what a sad fact about the whole matter is, though, folks? Is some folks prefer pain to healing. You remember how Elijah, a lot of folks have pity parties like Elijah did. You remember how he did. Man, he prayed the fire down from heaven to God to consume the sacrifice, and all those prophets of Baal were destroyed. And then Jezebel sent a letter and said, hey, you're going to be dead just like they are. But tomorrow about this time, he took off running in the wilderness and began to feel sorry for himself. He said, Lord, I'm the only one servant. I'm just saying verbatim. Lord, I'm the only one servant, the Lord said. And I believe the Lord said, well, Elijah, there's 7,000 already. Still, people have not bowed their knee to Baal. Yet sometimes we get it, we say, hey. You see, the problem is a lot of times we still keep feeling sorry for ourselves and keep feeling sorry for ourselves. And when we do that, we can't be a blessing. That's normal. There's got to be a time we say, hey, look, I hate what happened. I'm sorry it happened. But I got to snap out of this and go home. See, some people don't want healing. They want to stay in their grief. I don't understand why anybody wants to stay in their grief. I don't understand it at all, except maybe just to get attention. I don't know. But some people don't want healing in their life. Some people just say, well, they make excuses. Well, you don't understand what happened. No, maybe not. What's the problem is you need to quit reliving what's happened and just say, God, I'm sorry. And I try not to bring it back to my memory. I try not to think about it no more, but God, you got to help me. You got to give me help. I need healing. I need to get out of this thing. I got to get this thing. This pain hurts. I need some relief from the pain. Some of us have been hurt by others and done us wrong. And we'd rather endure pain than say, Lord, I want to get this out of blood and forgive him. Get this out of my way. Well, I can serve you, Lord. Their faith is at a risk when they do that. They say, Lord, I'm not going to get it right. I didn't do wrong. That Bible didn't say that. The Bible said if you go to the altar and said you've got a present your gift and you remember a brother or sister got something against you, said leave that gift at the altar, go get it right, and come back then offer you gift. Well, preacher, that ain't fair. God didn't say anything about being fair. He just said that was the thing to do. A lot of people don't want to take that big risk of doing that. They deny the spiritual. They don't believe the supernatural. Sometimes it's true, and it's the way a lot of people feel. They feel like they feel it's less painful to simply to have no God than to have God who allows such hurt in their life. That ain't true. People hurt. Lost people hurt. Saved people hurt. We all face hurtful situations. I want to ask you something this morning. Something keeping me from really having victory. Have you had somebody hurt you, somebody betrayed you? Maybe someone's passed on and it's bothered you, but it hurts you, and it doesn't. It'll still hurt. It will, but you've got to come to resolve this and say, Lord, I'll give it to you, and I guarantee you it happened with me, it'll happen to you. If you do that, that's when you still feel some healing in your life. Not that you won't hurt, but it will not consume you like it does presently. You've got to remove those barriers in your life, those attitudes. What's the first thing Jesus told him to do before he resurrected Lazarus? What did he tell him to do? Roll that stone away. He said, roll that stone away. That's the very first thing you need to do in your life. There's barriers that's keeping you between you and God. And you're living with pain, and you don't need to live with pain. We want these hurts in our heart to be healed. We've got to remove those stones that block the way. It could be angerness or bitterness, resentment for others. For some, the pain of healing, the pain itself, prevents the touch of healing, because a lot of times we jerk away from that pain. That balm will heal you. It'll take away the pain. That rejection is a healing. See, a lot of people, I don't know if they thrive in being in pain or what, but if you hear the service this morning and you're hurting, there is a remedy for your your hurt. So many people I've seen people time and time again at churches, what I preach, pastor, that they've gone through a bad situation in their life and God can help them. But when God deals with it, instead of accepting that conviction and come and getting it right, they reject it and jerk away from the help that you give. That's why, and eventually it ends up, they end up quit serving God and end up just don't even go to church. Another barrier is unbelief or stubborn refusal to be able to admit there's a power greater than ourselves. You know what your problem is this morning? If you're going through that, you're trying to do it on your own, honey, you can't do it. You can't overcome these things on your own. You can't. It'll drive you start crazy if you try to. You got to understand, Lord, we got to come to this place and say, Lord, this is bigger than me, but it ain't bigger than you. That's what we need to do. See, we cling to that illusion of control, being in control, willing to suffer rather than give up our self-sufficiency. We can't. Jesus said, without me, what you can do? What? Nothing. Without me, you can't do it. You can't overcome it. It'll stay with you and stay with you till your dying days. It will. You'll die still blaming everybody else and making excuses and rejecting God. That's what happens. Why would you want to live like that? I don't understand. I don't understand why people want to live like that. They collect that, you know what? A lot of anger, a lot of guilt. And with this anger, and all the time you get like that, there'll be some sin. You get sin started in your life, you start rejecting. You start turning away from God. There's got to be a confession and repentance. You got to surrender your will. Paul said, not I, but Christ. I want to tell you something this morning. When you understand this today, Until we surrender our will to His will, you can never get the help you need. You need to get the clay out of the way, which gets the flesh, and say, God, I've come to this point now. This is where I've ever been. This is where I've been needing to be a long time. And God help you. But one thing, and I'm going to finish up, we'll be through in a minute, this last point today. Healing is not just on the surface of a person. It's got to be here. Healing of the heart. And that's what I've been trying to bring out all in my message. The healing of the heart, of the soul. The Lord not only wants to heal us from the hurts in our lives, but loose us from those grave clothes that's in our life that keeps us from serving God and being happy like we. You ever heard anybody say, I'll never be happy again? You ever thought like, well, a problem happened? Yeah, you ever thought that? Some of you have been through things that I hadn't, and I've been through things you had. But you ever went through such a severe time, you're thinking yourself, you hurt so bad, you said, I'll never be happy. This has devastated me, and I'll always stay devastated. Let me tell you what, so we can understand. We need to understand this, folks. We might not never, we don't never choose. We'll never choose to be hurt, to have pain in our lives. But we can choose how to deal with the pain in our lives and allow the healer to touch us at the point of calling our pain. You ever had a doctor, you be hurt, and you say, does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? Where does it hurt at? Jesus knows where it hurts. He knows exactly where he'll touch. I don't know what it is. I don't know. You may be here this morning. You have a relationship that's gone bad. You had maybe a child that's on the way out in the world. You may have had people that done you wrong, that's hurt you. You battle that anger, that bitterness all the time. You need to get healed up from that. What about that person offended me? Get it right with God. They don't want to get it right with you. You do what you can do and let God take care of them. You go on about your business and do what you can do for God. He may remove its source or relieve its result. And He may release you from the pain or strengthen you to endure the pain. You're talking about a little boy. Your little boy, his face full of lust. You treated the symptoms, but you never really found a problem, did you? A lot of people this morning, they treat the symptoms of their life, but they never do get down to the problem of them. You understand what I'm trying to get today? You treat the symptoms, but you never get healed of the problem. And as long as you don't do that, you'll always have to battle with it. That's my whole point of the message this morning. If the inward hurt, you've got to get healed. You've got to find the source, and you've got to get that source taken care of before you can ever experience healing. I've seen some of you in my last few years, some of you called me crying about things in your life, your children, or something going on. You've been brokenhearted. And I cry, I'm broken with you. But I can't heal that inside hurt of you. I wish I could, but it's not me. I can't do that. People come to me, it will hurt. I wish I could just say, let me reach inside of you and touch that healing and heal that part. I can't do it. But let me tell you what, there's somebody that can this morning.
Yes, sir.
His name is Jesus this morning. You may be hurting this morning in your heart. I don't know. He wants to. He don't want us to be partially healed. He wants us to be completely healed. He wants us to be healed like Lazarus' day when he raised Lazarus. He wanted him to be healed of the decaying grave clothes He said, you know what they did when he walked? They said, loose him and let him go. That's what he wants you to do. He wants you to be loose of that thing this morning. You can walk and be free again. Is that stone in your life and between you, is it too heavy for you to move? It may be, but it ain't for him. What do you need to do? He said, Lord, I can't do it. He said, what do you say? Cast all your care upon me. What book will he carry for you? Let me tell you something, friend. When Jesus went to the grave of Lazarus, no stone could keep him from the grave of his friend, no more than a rock could block his own grave. When he rose on the third day, the stone rolled away. I want to ask you something this morning. This is the conclusion of my message, but I know this has been, and I'm glad it's been quiet because it's, I'm glad it did, because I want you to really listen. We've all dealt with being hurt before, haven't we? Back in the mid-'80s, I pastored a church, and it was not good. And I had to fight this for a long time. Until God showed me, look, you gotta quit being, you gotta get this thing right. It's what's done. Get right with God and do right. It's nothing that I done, it's what he done, and I was bitter, but I finally got right. I realized, hey, I gotta stop living like this. I gotta get healed up from this. I gotta be cured from this. I can't live like this, it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna ask you something, you want healing in your life. There's something in your heart that you had here that bothered you, that hindered you for many years. It may have been something that you done years ago that you ain't completely got right with God with about it. You need to say, Lord, I need to get right with you and get right with whatever got wrong with you. Some of you, I know some of your stories, some of you experience a lot of grief with your loved ones passing. Some of you experience grief with relationships in your family that's gone bad. I know you have. We all had to do that sometime. We all went through that. But I'm trying to tell you this morning, friend. If you want healing, you come to this fountain this morning. His name is Jesus. Get under that crimson flow. He'll take care of that need today. You need to hurt healed in your heart. You need God to help your heart, to heal your heart. When that preacher preached that other night, it's like a bell went off for me, brother. And I said, that's probably, I've experienced that, and that's probably hundreds and hundreds of people all over the country that's experienced the same thing. Some of you have had things happen years ago. You never truly gotten over it. It still hurts. You never really healed up. See, when we get healed up in this thing, we need to try to block it out of our mind as much as we can. Don't break back up and get help. That's when the healing comes. Don't relive the past heartaches that you've had. Don't relive the incident or the event that took place at college. Don't try not to. If you can do that, that's when God can really help you. If not, you don't care about that situation or that person, but it's something that God expects us to say, Lord, I do want to go on for you. And this is like a weight on me that I need relief from. I need to take away this weight. I need to take away this morning. I want everybody to stand this morning and pass it. I want you to bow your head. Don't want to go to the altar. I got to ask you this. I want everybody to